Hey guys, so it's me, Nainesh, aka DJ Rugrat.
Deven Musiq. How's it going, people?
So this is the following episode or podcast, and I think it's important to talk about kind of the difference between weddings and club DJs and our journeys more so because I always find it's quite interesting. So I think for me it's been a very interesting journey. Someone asked me literally just the other day. I put up a post on Musical Movement to say, is there any questions that anyone has regarding any topics they want to discuss? Someone asked how did you start DJing, and I know me and you literally just had this conversation before recording, so I think it'll be a good touch point to go into. So as I'm sure most people hopefully know, and if they don't know, then now I can explain it. For me, my journey started off in nightclubs and in other clubs and bars, and it kind of evolved from that. So naturally, even with Ash sitting there, me and him were just discussing about vinyls. And in the days when we started DJing, it was like a case for us carrying records. So when we were going to nightclubs, we were carrying crates of records. I could probably carry 2 crates of records on a night bus and run an hour or 2 hour set. Like, I wouldn't be running weddings. I wasn't doing weddings at that point. But I can only imagine, like with records, how hard it must have been to do a wedding.
Trying to get space on the bus and
literally, I could barely carry the record case. I had about 3 or 4 other people, DJ 5-Star being one of them, and we would have an entourage of people trying to get to the nightclub. But 18 years old with crates of record, with hats on, and the bouncers kind of looking at us like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, it was quite, it was quite unreal. Even taking needles. So taking needles with us to clubs was a thing because, if you end up going to a nightclub and one of the needles doesn't work, you've got one deck and literally.
Those times are obviously turntables. So
I remember them when the CDJs come out. That completely revolutionized the whole game for me. Like as soon as that come out, from playing garage, R&B, and hip hop, I can now play everything: house, dancehall.
And this is the thing. If you think about it, imagine you now bring your laptop instead of a needle.
Literally,
so it's actually mad. And before you just have to take your needle. So you see that differentiation between turntables to technology now, isn't it? So
when you started, then you started on vinyls when you started DJing.
Yes, I started on vinyls. I started from when I was about 12 years old.
Okay.
So I think my backstory is like there was a period after primary school. It was like the summer period. So obviously my mom didn't want me to step outside and relax and chill with friends, and she wants me to do something. So she was like, why don't you take up a course? And at the time she used to work at Brent Council, the local council. And she's like, oh, there's a set of courses that are going on. Look through the book and enroll in one. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. I don't really want to do it. And obviously when I opened up the book, I saw something on music and DJing. So that's how I started. So I enrolled in a course. You have to go to some sort of school, which was local. And then from there, they set up 2 decks. And then they invite like about 2 like teachers who teach you how to sort of DJ. How to like beat match on turntables, right? So beat matching, and then at the end of the 2-week course, you then record a tape, a cassette, not even a CD, and then that's how it started.
Old school days. They're the same.
That's the thing. So
when I used to record, from home on turntables, but I wasn't taught how to mix specifically. I used to sit there for 6 hours, literally a day, just scratching on one vinyl and then on the other side, and then we used to record the same thing on the cassette. And I remember going to college and showing people, like at college, what it is. How times have changed. Now I can record a set on Serato in 45 minutes and it's bam.
It's quite interesting.
Upload it to Mixcloud, put on iTunes, put everywhere.
How it's changed. Now you can just record it in the comfort of your own home.
No, indeed, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like I feel I learned everything I probably know now in clubs, or learned on that whole journey coming up. So for me, I think especially for musical movements, all of the DJs have the same background. They all come from nightclubs. They all come from bars. They all have. I would say an additional experience, more so, because doing weddings is one thing, but being able to do a wedding, being able to do a bar, being able to do a nightclub, do a corporate party, to do various different events, it's not as easy.
And you have to sort of like versatile in between the two, right? Because imagine for myself, like I started on private parties, doing like house parties, and then from there going on to bars and then sort of clubs. And then it's like only when you step into clubs, you realize what you're in for. When you see a range of crowd that you don't know. You see different types of people, different types of music that they enjoy. So it's like how to incorporate that, but then bringing it over to weddings and how to sort of adapt to that.
So what
think
would you
it's
say you
important.
prefer playing, or where would you say is your kind of ideal
See,
set?
do you know what the thing is? Like, I enjoy both. I like clubs. I enjoy clubs as well because you can literally experiment and play sort of everything sometimes.
Play what, you can play what you want.
Pretty much, right? You know, and then if you go to weddings, sometimes it's restricted because sometimes you might have the clients that want to listen to something different or structured to them and their guests, right? So
Yeah, no,
it kind of all depends.
that's the thing. I think the beauty is,
Like,
especially when I come up, started up playing in clubs, then doing weddings was more or less like a
Yeah.
every other week kind of thing.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's
yeah.
at a place where I'm doing weddings every week and
Yeah.
clubs like every now and again. But
Yeah.
finishing at 12 o'clock, give or take, on most weddings in comparison to finishing a nightclub at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it definitely takes
This is
its
it.
toll on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even touching base with straight earlier about, sometimes when you do the wedding ceremony and you're doing a reception party and you finish, say you finish at 12, and you've got the wedding the next day. By the time you've actually finished and the teams are packed down, you're back in the unit and you're at another event the next day.
Yeah.
The likelihood the timing's going to be pretty
Yeah, no, this is
early.
it. Because usually, like for example, if you do a wedding, it's like more than likely over 12 hours, coming up to 24 hours sometimes, because you're doing a full day. And if you think about going to just say the unit, packing down, and then getting ready for the next event, then prepping for the next set, and the set could be a club, it could be another wedding. So you have to be on top of these things, but also know what you're actually doing
no.
and
indeed.
how to adapt. Yeah,
That's the key. It's being able to adapt because, like I was saying, like when you're playing in a nightclub and you've got 500 people in front of you, it's much easier to play to them. If you're playing in a wedding and you've got say 200 people in the wedding, but you've got 50 people actually on the dance floor, that is a much more intense scenario. Trying to figure out exactly what to kind of play, what
it's
to
a bit more personal. Your thing, because you can see every individual as well, right? What do you prefer then? Would you prefer?
You know what? I prefer
now?
weddings at this point, most definitely. I definitely would say, like, for me, it's more of I think as much as I enjoy playing, and not to say I don't enjoy it all, I think it's just like as I've kind of evolved and I'm older, I think you can feel the appreciation within a wedding situation or scenario more so than a club. When you're playing in a club and you're playing, you can you've got a bit more kind of free range to play what you want, to do what you want to some capacity. But when you're doing a wedding, it's a lot more intimate. You can kind of see people's reaction. You've discussed with the particular bride and groom, like the song that they want to incorporate within the playlist. I know you touched on one of the previous podcasts about how important playlists are and discussing songs that the bride and groom want to hear. You can see it happening. Whereas in the nightclub, no one's asking you in advance, listen, I need to hear this song at this time, or this is my entrance or anything. In the nightclub, it's kind of just do what you want.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. I think even like, for example, if you think about weddings, you can structure the night to the way you want and have a good time with, every guest in the room, right? Imagine if you think about a club or a bar, you're playing different types of music, but you want to make sure, even though that they enjoy themselves, are they actually enjoying themselves? Like,
that's the thing.
What they're thinking.
But that's what I mean. That the important, like the experience section of this is like if you place a DJ in a bar, not knowing what you're supposed to play. That experience to just adapt and to watch your audience, watch the crowd, and play is vital. Like I said, with weddings, it's easier on the basis where you're told in advance. I would like 50%, for example, Bollywood, 50% R&B. You kind of know which direction you're going in before you've got there. But with the clubs in the bar section, you're kind of walking in blind. You don't know.
Trial and error, right?
Trial and error. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's the most powerful thing. I think for any DJ to be able to walk into any room and play music, it's that's
the thing though, right? Yeah, music is a language in itself, right? Imagine you play different types of music, but it's adapting and knowing different genres because you come across different clients, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's important.
Even now, like I said,
learn that from the clubs. And bring it to
because if you think about it, from now, like for me, most of my clients or most of the weddings I've done are clients that have heard me in clubs, not just heard me in wedding, but initially I remember like, especially more so when I was like 25, that age range where every club I was doing, I would end up meeting someone and then you sort of get a referral, someone's getting married, and then become a case. Now it's like every wedding we do, you end up meeting someone there. But playing that era of music,
do you know what? It's interesting you say that. It's because like some DJs that I speak to as well, sometimes they don't like playing certain genres, but I think it's good knowing every genre because in that way you can adapt to any sort of crowd, right? It doesn't matter who it is, as long as you got.
That's the thing.
Speakers and decks, and you can just play.
Is there any genres that you try to avoid when you play?
To be honest, not really. I think because I enjoy different types of music. I do a lot of different types of venues, right? So whether it's like Bollywood, Bhangra, Tamil, Arabic, it could be French, it could be, from garage, Afro beats.
But you get a lot of a lot of the Tamil clients
Yeah,
prefer you, and you've done many of those weddings. So I think on the basis of your playlist,
and I think I enjoy it because it's such a hype crowd, and on top of that, they love the mixture in between different other genres. So playing Tamil with urban, it works really well.
Yeah,
because that way you can incorporate the elderly as well as the youngsters.
yeah.
So I think it works well, knowing these sort of genres. So I think
That's it. I think it's funny. I think Shrey also touched on one of the other previous points as he played the wrong first dance for someone's wedding, and again I think I might have mentioned this previously, but I done a wedding once, and I kind of went in there kind of blindly, not really. This is one of the very first weddings I'd ever done, right? Yeah. So this was somewhere in Bolton. So this is going back like a long time ago. So naturally at that point thinking, okay, cool, I'm a DJ, I can play clubs, I can play anywhere, that kind of confidence that I had at that point. Done the wedding, and that was the first wedding I done. I kind of didn't know what to do, what to play, because I kind of realized very fast that what I play in a nightclub is naturally not the same that's going to work for a Gujarati wedding. But that one day is when I learned, cool, preparation is key. Wherever I'm going to play now, I'm going to make sure I'm kind of adapted well enough to know how to handle the situation or how to come in and play.
And I think, it goes on communication, right, as well. For example, like we deal with wedding clients and we speak to them about what they want as a playlist and what, genre or music they prefer. And then same with clubs, we might speak to the bar manager of any manager, what sort of criteria they want. If it's not open format, then what do you prefer?
Well, communication is easier now though. Back in the day, how did they communicate with each other? It must have been a lot more of a difficult process.
Seems easier now. I think, more time, especially when we're doing different sort of venues, we got a lot of like booking forms that have like, they prefer a certain policy and genre. Sometimes it's a hit and miss. You're thinking you can't really freestyle the way you want and your creativity, but then you're thinking, you got to respect the venue sometimes. And it goes the same with our clients. They might avoid certain genres or certain types of music, but we have to adapt to it, right? So
no, exactly. It's a bit interesting to see the direction, like in the future, where weddings will go. Because when I speak to, like for example, some of my younger cousins, they kind of express, when they get married, that they envision their wedding to be more based on Western music, even cuisine to some capacity. Like some of them are thinking, I might not have Indian food. I might have food stations with different things. So there's only a certain amount of time things can be kind of in the same place before.
I get that. Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because certain weddings I've done, especially at weddings, especially the younger crowd, they don't have tables anymore. They just have tall bar style tables with just canapes. And just 2 tables for just elderly, and that's it.
That's what I mean. The things are evolving slightly more toward that kind of bar loungy kind of feel, because it's the same. So many weddings I've done last year didn't have a structured seating plan. So they had like food stations in certain places. They had a dance floor. Some of them didn't even do entrances or first dance, something like that. They said, look, we want the guests to come in, play some background lounge music, let them eat at the stations, and then just start the party. And it's more or less that. And if you think of it like that, that's technically, that's kind of going back towards club-styled events.
Just bringing that sort of club decor, the vibe into your weddings.
If I'm honest with you, I can see weddings becoming, or more increasingly becoming like that. In the coming years especially. And even with the whole musical sort of preferences and what people are listening to now, like what we play in a wedding now, 10 years ago probably would have been unheard of. Playing Western music 10 years ago in wedding would have probably been
unheard of as well.
Yeah, exactly. Predominantly would have been Bhangra and Bollywood.
I think our reach for different types of resources now is a bit more open as well.
But that's what I mean. People listen to everything now. If you pull up your Spotify, how many different playlists did you have and how many genres?
It's not even now you get R&B, but you get different types of R&B, or it's not just jazz. You get different types of, versions of it. So it's like, where do you stand? But then it comes down to, meeting and dealing with clients, the right way, right?
Indeed. I think it's always interesting to see, because even now, like, I don't listen to as much new music, but I listen to BBC One Extra usually in my car.
That's usually me actually.
On the way to a booking anyway. On the way back from a booking, it's Magic FM most of the time, or one of the more chilled out approaches.
That's it. Usually, if it's not like Spotify, it's usually like something more chilled, maybe a custom playlist, or something more like smooth or hard. That's on the way back home anyway. But
no, we've been plugging smooth and hard quite a lot recently.
Quite a lot. But I do like the differentiation between like clubs and weddings, to be fair.
No, I agree. I think I think it's very powerful, like for any DJ to kind of, you only learn from being in uncomfortable situations. You only learn from not really being prepared, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
when you walk into a place, the only time for me anyway, when you learn is when you make a mistake. When you make a mistake,
Yeah.
you realize, oh, I've done something wrong.
Yeah.
The next time I'm not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that very first wedding I ever done,
I just-
I
Yeah,
literally didn't know what to play.
Yeah.
After that, I made sure I had enough songs like and to know what songs to play. And then eventually, like weddings,
it,
you can
yeah.
kind of, you can understand that majority of weddings have a very similar structure. And I think it's become second nature.
Yeah.
When you do
Yeah.
something week in, week out, and you're kind of,
It's like being open to a situation.
Yeah.
Because you never know, it can go this way, that way, but you just need to know what sort of direction you're heading in terms of like music as well, isn't it?
no, indeed.
That's why bringing the club environment in which we do to weddings, I think is important.
No,
because
exactly
that way
so.
it makes us unique and gives us that USP.
I
And
agree.
what
I think
clients like.
I think it's one of the most important things for all of the musical DJs to have the background of playing in bars,
Yeah.
playing in nightclubs, etc.
Yeah.
Is key. And I will always encourage. I actually tell a lot of
Yeah.
the clients that
Yeah,
get in
yeah,
touch to go and see the DJ.
Yeah.
Like go see them at this bar, go see them at this club if you
Yeah.
want to hear them in advance,
Mhm.
because it's a bit. We can't really invite them to other people's weddings, right?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Unless they can come and see the set
So they
beforehand.
can come see us. Yeah.
Yeah, come see us. Just not at a wedding.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
come
it.
see us at a bar, come see us at a club. But I think it's
Yeah.
one of the most important things is to get to know the DJ, get to hear them, listen to them. And I think on that note,
Yeah.
we can do a nice little plug towards our Mixcloud page in order to hear any good mixes and our Spotify pages. And come and hear the DJs. I think I'll always encourage people, any one of the clients that are getting married, to check out the DJs before booking. So in regards to Mixcloud, actually before Mixcloud was SoundCloud. So when I started to DJ, I used to make all of the mixes, record it, and upload it to SoundCloud.
Yep.
And this was before Spotify, before a lot of the major platforms.
Yeah.
So those days, the reach I was getting, the amount of followers and the listeners I was getting from my SoundCloud was phenomenal. And at that point, I was DJing in Zubar on Mondays.
Of course.
So what I used to do is I'll record a mix, and then I will literally have my laptop,
Yeah.
and I will be able to manually burn 30 CDs a night. Actually,
That's
let me
crazy.
bring it back a little bit more beforehand, right? My first residency is a club called Windmill in Soho, which you know,
Yeah.
and now which you guys know. I started that when I must have been 19 years old, 19 or 20 years old.
I actually started there for those of you that don't know as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Windmill is a table dancing club,
Yeah.
and it's in Piccadilly. So there was an advert that popped up basically on when I was looking for a job when I literally graduated from uni. I come back to London. I didn't have anything else going on apart from Zubar on a Monday, right?
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
DJing
yeah.
once a week. Naturally, family's like, what are you doing? You know, you can't just DJ one day a week, or if this DJing thing's not working out for you, maybe you should look for a job.
Yeah.
So I went on Gumtree, typed in DJs wanted or something.
Yeah, I was
along
gonna
those
say,
lines.
was it Gumtree, right?
It was Gumtree at that point, and then Windmill come up, and I was like, table dancing club.
Yeah.
DJs wanted. So I was like, I just assumed, okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what it was. I'll be honest
what
with
it
you.
entails
right?
and yeah.
I sent an email, and the manager just said, come in tonight
Yeah.
and bring some music. You'll have a trial today, and if you like, you can stay on.
Yeah.
So I got there, and obviously I realized what it was at that point. I walked in there thinking, oh, okay, cool. Being a table dancing club, I assumed I should be playing hip hop for some reason, because watching music videos, etc., it kind of made me feel like,
kind of
all right, cool.
fits. Yeah.
That's perhaps what I should play. And literally after playing 2 or 3 songs, the manager said, like, what are you playing? Like,
Yeah.
why are you playing hip hop and R&B? Because I want you to play house music and commercial kind of pop music. At that point, I didn't necessarily have that much. Or my catalog necessarily wasn't kind of really house based. Which is quite interesting. But nevertheless, I managed to sustain the duration of the trial. And the next day I come back, and then they offered me the job, which was 6 days a week from Monday to Saturday.
Crazy.
And I kind of explained to the manager at that point that I can't DJ every single night. And I have a team of DJs that I can help kind of balance out the days I can't do. And I think many of the events dates that I've done there, because technically when I kind of was at Windmill, I treated it like an office. I treated it like a place where I can get work done. So
What was the hours then at Windmill?
it was 10 to 5.
10 to 5, isn't it? Because I think
10 p.m. to 5
Yeah,
a.m.
we used to do 10 to 5, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes
yeah,
we'd finish at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
It would end on Purple Rain Prince every night.
That's it, yeah.
So
yeah.
so I literally take 2 laptops, right? So one of the laptops that I was DJing with, and one of the laptops I'll be burning CDs with. So when I was coming back to the SoundCloud conversation, right, the mix I would upload to SoundCloud would also burn on a CD. But I used to go to Asda, buy a pack of 100 CDs, buy the labels, get the labels printed, and then go there and then manually put in a CD, burn it. It'll come out, stick the label on it, and I'll literally be able to make 30 a night. And I'll make as many as I can. And on a Monday night at Zuba,
it's like putting in a double shift. You're working and you're
literally
working.
You're working and you're working. And then even like building the following online, building like learning how to deal with invoices, learning how to deal with certain business aspects of things. Like a lot of it was formed on the foundation of actually being there. Like I remember not doing my emails during the day because I felt like I might as well do the emails in the evening. Because the booking was more like a background vibe. I was playing music and it wasn't necessarily encouraging people to kind of dance or rave or anything.
For a crowd, right? As such.
Exactly.
This is it. Yeah.
So I think, and as I kind of grew as a DJ from there, then I got more and more busy. I started to put more and more DJs in there. And that's kind of, I guess, the foundation of where kind of everything started from. Strangely enough, taking it back to those days. And then I remember like with Zubar playing there on a Monday. Initially, Monday used to be a Bhangra night before I come on board. And then Upesh, which is one of the main promoters at that point, who was running the show there, he heard me in Manchester, and then we become quite good friends. And I kind of pestered him to say, yo, I need to be involved with Zubar on a Monday. I want to play here. Let me play here. And eventually played there. And those student days were crazy. Now I look back at it, it's like how it all kind of progressed from that. Then it went to Funky Buddha, then it went to Metra. Half the other clubs I probably can't even remember where we ended up.
And this is the thing, like talking about adaptation from like just a Windmill to then going to Zuba, such a crazy student, and then changing up from each venue. But you see
that's
the
the thing, like I was saying,
yeah.
I think the key is you have to adapt, right? At the end of the day, you can't do the same thing. It's going to work everywhere. You can't just be. That's why I think for me, it's always been a case of like I always see everything as a kind of challenge. Like you see where this can go, see where this can go, see where this can go. But if you keep trying and pushing energy in the right places, things play out.
Yeah, no, this is it. I think for me, this is the thing because I started at Windmill also. And then from there, obviously adapting from that and then learning that sort of style, house, commercial. That's when I first got introduced to that sort of genre. You know, first doing private parties and then going into Windmill and then from there starting out in local bars and clubs. I think it's just making sure that you know how to, you know, switch up and change up. So you know that you're adapting to not only the crowd, but also what the, you know, venue manager was. Like what you said, you know, I think the, you know, venue manager was saying, you know, it's not really hip hop for this sort of venue, but paying the right sort of genres. So
exactly so. Because like I was saying, I think if he, like I remember that day quite clearly, but like it kind of made me realize like, all right, cool. So eventually doing many events like this that you kind of learn or you kind of felt like you don't know what you're doing makes you realize, all right, I have to prepare, or this is what, you know, they want to hear house music. I need to go and understand house music. Following that event, after that, for the next few months, I literally just focused on listening to more music, downloading more music. And, you know, as I said, for DJs, I've always got preferences of what I like. But as a DJ, I'm always willing to play what I'm getting booked to play. So if someone's asking me to DJ at their venue and their policy is, you know, R&B, for example, I'm going to go and play R&B. If someone...
for example, like if you're looking at like one of your favorite clubs, what would you prefer playing? Like, what's some of your favorite genres that you play at clubs?
Interesting, right? For me, my first love of music was always garage. So I think like I would always prefer to play garage music over perhaps anything.
Of course,
But at the same time, I have days where I like to play R&B and hip hop. And I kind of literally, I guess it's based on mood more so. But you know, like Lockside in Camden, when I used to play there, I used to love playing dancehall there. And Afro beats and hip hop and garage, elements of everything, and I felt like that kind of the people that were coming to that specific night when I was running it, they were the audience that wanted to hear bits of everything, opposed to being, you know, one night of, for example, house.
They like the switch up. This is the thing, because even when I started on turntables at 12, I started on like obviously like these old school garage vinyls, but then from there went to like understanding like hip hop, R&B, commercial, and then taking it from there, like learning about Bolly music, like back at home, or Bhangra, or, you know, African, you know, Afro beats and stuff. So I think it's important to understand it and then how to adapt it to the actual venues and crowd.
No, exactly. I've got thousands of records. That's who said that record. Like, literally, I still don't know what to do with them. I literally don't know what to do with them. He actually got my other like remaining batch. I need to.
They'll probably double the price over the years.
I don't know whether they will or not. I've got so many people call me and say, "Oh, you're a DJ. Do you want records?" But what am I going to do with them?
This is the thing. But yeah, no, I think it's important, understanding different venues. But for me, like when I started on the whole venue side of things, like bars, clubs, it was then for me to try and, level up and take it to the next level. Like how can I not only play in London, but then branch out into the UK?
But you've done well internationally. You've played literally all over the country the last couple of years.
Yeah, like I think for me, it was a case where trying to then understand networking, you see,
Right.
the power of social media, understanding networking, get in touch with different venues and venue managers. I think now it's easier because we've got like Instagram, we got, Twitter. But I think Instagram and the whole TikTok and having that sort of foundation of visuals is easier to then promote. You see what I mean? So understanding all of that sort of
I guess you got to use all of the tools that are available to you, right?
Yeah.
So when I started, like I said, SoundCloud was my tool. CD players, people had them in their cars.
Yeah.
So CDs
This
was
is
a
it.
thing. People
Yeah.
never had no links to listen to things
USB
so
or
easily.
AUX or
And I guess now, like you mentioned, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever.
yeah. I think
one of the reasons why we're doing podcasts, right? So it's,
no, and that's how it started. So once I got into the clubs and then sort of targeted the UK, then I sort of saw in myself, how can I then level up and go internationally? So that's when I'll get in touch with like venue managers abroad, and then they'll be like, yeah, if you come over here, whenever you can, we'll get you in. Get you in.
no, I agree. I agree. Like I was saying, I think it's also
that's how it starts. Yeah.
it's also just that belief element. A lot of the people I speak to that I know are really good DJs, they don't really believe in themselves as DJs. They're kind of like, they want to do something, but it's like they're not convinced that they're good enough to do something.
Yeah, it's like if you're not, it's like you got a name, you got a brand, but being marketable, right? So
Marketing is funny because
So
like if you think about it, how many
Yeah.
DJs do you know that are really good but they don't play out as much, and how many DJs do you know that are not as good but play out more frequently?
Yeah, I'm sure we can, discuss.
I can name many of them.
Many people. Yeah.
It's I guess a DJ technically in the club world anyway, especially in the club world, it's a balance between a brand and a balance between the
No,
talent.
of course. And I think this is the thing, because once you do the whole branding and marketing, and then when you want to adapt to sort of then the weddings, which like clients more 9 times out of 10 they want to see the club element into a wedding. So I think it's important.
Yeah.
And what sort of background you have and where have you played before and what sort of style you are. That's why they pick you as a DJ, right?
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. I think each DJ should have a history of where they have played before.
Yeah.
Where do they play? What music do they like? Knowing the DJ is such an important factor, like especially for weddings. And I think it's partly why we've shaped everything in the direction we've always shaped it.
Yeah.
It's because for the wedding, the musical style, the musical kind of balance is all conditionally based on what the bride and groom want. The DJ's already got the understanding and the knowledge and the know-how of how to play music.
What's your sort of favorite venues that you played at, whether it's abroad or in the UK? Or?
Actually, one of my favorite clubs I played in is a club called Play. I'm not sure if it's still open. It's in Hong Kong, and that was like perhaps one of the best clubs I played in. One of the best experiences probably as a DJ. I played at Songkran Festival in Thailand, and that was like a water festival, which is like Notting Hill Carnival as a water fight, basically. The best way I can describe it. Even Notting Hill Carnival has been epic. You played Notting Hill Carnival 2 years back.
Yeah, so Notting Hill Carnival 3 years back now.
Yeah.
And then obviously back, hoping, fingers crossed this year again. But I think one of my favorites has been 555 in Morocco, Marrakesh.
That looked
which
sick.
was crazy,
That looked amazing.
Partying with over like 2,000 people, but it's been crazy, But just sort of adapting with that. But just trying to work out now in terms of weddings, how we can sort of carry on bringing that club element and just keeping that USP.
Yeah, I think, most of our generation growing up partying. That's the reality. Yeah, majority of them either growing up partying in uni, on the weekends. They had a good experience of music, a balance of Western, perhaps a balance of Bollywood, and I feel like that's where we are. We are literally the perfect fit for a wedding.
Plus, I think you touched on a good one about, how you had the Zoo Bar student nights.
Yeah.
Like how they remember that sort of style of partying and those memories they've had. They want the same sort of memories in weddings as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly that. A lot of people will say to me, like, I want to kind of relive my uni days at my wedding, and you were the DJ that played at the student nights at those times, etc.
Yeah, so I think it's important with that as well.
But on that note, I think we will bring this podcast to an end.
Yeah, 100%.
The legendary Deven Musiq, myself, Nainish Patel, also known as DJ Rugrat. Sometimes I don't even know how I should introduce or exit myself. Exit myself. That's not even the right word to say. Exit myself. Outro. That's it. Anyway, on that note, please do subscribe to our channel. We are going to be launching a podcast every Sunday. So if you are interested in any particular topics that you would like any of the team to discuss, please feel free to comment, message us, inbox us, whatever's appropriate.
Share, all of that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, musical movement, standing up.
Peace.